It's a very long story. I guess in my previous work life, I was working with families and children who were in crisis and often dealing with grief and loss of separation. And at the time, I was heading towards a little bit of a crisis, and I'm kind of a person that believes in fate. I'd been working as a volunteer myself for about 20 years with Crisis Line, starting out with Crisis Line, and I became a supervisor with Crisis Line before I moved across to be on the board of Victims of Crime. And eventually I was the chairperson of Victims of Crime in the Northern Territory for about 2 years. And it seemed to be just a general progression. And at the time when I was sort of feeling as though I needed a new challenge, the position came up to work with volunteers at palliative care. And I thought, well, this is obviously meant to be. It's calling to me. So that's how it started. I think one of the most important areas for the future is going to be training. Not only training for the volunteers to skill them up, but also for volunteer coordinators and managers. And I think that's part of the new exciting area. I'm part of the National Volunteer Managers Group for palliative care, and those are the areas we're looking at, as well as resources to, really provide not only a skilled but a well-resourced volunteer group, because we recognise that with the health department and the ageing population, volunteers are going to be more and more used and more resourced if patients wish to stay at home. I think it's the most rewarding area to work in, because you get a diverse group of people who are wanting to help, wanting to be there, wanting to connect with other people. It's no 2 days are the same. It's a growing area, it's challenging, there's lots of growth. For social workers, there's lots of community development opportunities, lots of education, not only for community groups, but also for families and for the volunteers as well. So it offers a lot of different areas that you can go into, and obviously social justice, advocacy for not only for our patients and clients, but also for our volunteers, who themselves are ageing and are looking at their own futures as well. While they're helping out patients and while they're assisting, they're seeing maybe some of their own futures down the line. So it's a great area to get into. And I really encourage people to sort of, if they don't want to move into, to volunteer. It's one of the most rewarding things to be able to say at the end of the day, I helped someone. In a little way today, I made a difference. And I think that's very special to be able to do that. We're very holistic in our approach, so there's never a specific, although we have some different roles, we try to leave the roles very open to the skills of the volunteer. So we do have volunteers who transport patients in and out from hospital appointments, who connect with them and are there day to day with the patient or with a family member supporting them through. We have volunteers who are working in our bereavement program and helping families in that aftermath of the loss to come to terms with that or to reconnect back into community. We have volunteers who come in and support us by doing our beautiful garden, and we realise how important it is for people to be able to connect back with nature, to have that beauty around them, the trees and the birds and the flowers. So they come in and they support us by doing that. Others of our volunteers knit and crochet our beautiful rugs and our quilts and things around the place, making it very homely. So that's in our in-hospice facility. The volunteers, they help us in admin duties, obviously, but we try and look at what skills the volunteer has and how can that fit in with what we have. How can we create an environment where they can give? I guess we're very lucky in Darwin that we have that ability and flexibility to be able to sort of expand out and look at different areas whenever we need to. Or we have a volunteer with specific skills. We recently had a volunteer who had a journalistic background, and one of the things that she was very interested in was doing biographies for clients. And we just happened, I always believe that fate steps in at the right time. We happened to have a patient who was very keen to have a biography done, and they spent many hours putting together a beautiful biography for the family when she passed away. We are very, I guess, in Darwin we're lucky that we have a very open group of doctors and nurses who are very supportive of the volunteer program. In their view, they are staff members and they treat them exactly as they would any other staff member. They come to all of our meetings if they want to. Not all of them are that interesting, the meetings, so they choose if they would like to come along. And they're included in everything that we do, our social events as well as our day-to-day work. We have communication books, but we encourage staff to talk and chat and get to know our volunteers. Again, we're so small up there that we can accommodate that. And our volunteers love the fact that they can walk up to any of the doctors and say, look, I've just noticed this. So it's very good. I'm really grateful for the area that I've fallen into, and I think that this is something, the area of palliative care and palliative care volunteers is one of the most rewarding positions to be in, to be able to assist and to help people at end of life, to be able to make that journey a more fulfilled journey, a more comfortable journey, not only for the patient but for the family members, and then to be able to assist and support them afterwards so that their recovery from this great loss is, I guess, not relieved but assisted and comforted for them. It's a very wonderful position to be in. I've really found the CareSearch site to be really invaluable for the volunteers. We do have formalised training. Formalised trainings run on a regular basis, and unfortunately symptoms and problems that occur or issues that occur for our patients don't always run that way. So it's really good for the volunteer to be able to log into CareSearch and look up a particular topic or a particular illness, particularly if they've just been connected with a new patient or client, and be able to read up on what that patient's illness is about, what is likely to be their trajectory, what is likely to be the symptoms that they're going to go through, and the pathway that they're going to have. So it gives the volunteer then a really clear picture of what could or is most likely to happen for this client of theirs. Obviously that doesn't take the place of formalised training, and it doesn't take the place of supervision, but it does give a starting point for the volunteer to use when they're connecting or talking with their client. I do use CareSearch myself. I use CareSearch as a valuable resource. It's good to be able to, as a volunteer coordinator, be able to look at latest research, be able to look at new methods and training, and to be able to look at things that I can use for my volunteers and keep up to date. I also like the professional website where I can look up other professional bodies and use some of the information from there and use it as sort of a launch pad onto other sites.